Inside or outside? Outside. Because this goes on the outside. So with the galvanized steel, we're doing the outside. So I'm going to show you how to cut, ream, and thread a pipe using the manual threader. So in the field, probably you're going to have a tripod. You're not going to have a bench with you. And the tripod will have a holder like this one. So I'll secure the pipe here. It's not moving. I'll put my oil pan because I will need the oil. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very tough to go through. I'll start by putting some oil. Let's say I want to put a cut in here. This is my cutter. If you see, it has two wheels and there's a sharp edge in here. Do not touch that sharp edge, it's very sharp. So I'm going to put it where I want to put the cut. And make sure you put it between the two wheels. If you put it here, it's not going to cut. Can you see?
Yeah.
This is wrong. Between the two wheels and the blade. Slowly, gently turn. It does have a grip. It has a grip on it. Now I can go and do one turn. Slowly. Watch your friend on the other side so you don't hit him. And go with a quarter turn. And go again. Quarter turn. As slow as you can. No rush. If you go too fast, what will happen? It's in the questions and the last. If you go too fast, you might cut the pipe with an angle. And why is this a problem? It's not going to be straight. It's going to be, yeah. And why is that a problem?
Little thread round.
Huh? What?
Little thread round.
You cannot get the threader to bite on it. So go a little bit more. One round. A little more. See, it's getting dry. I'll put some oil. Don't be skimpy with the oil. It's very convenient. So it goes smoother. A little more. More. The issue is going to cut now, so I'm going to be careful. I have to drop it. And watch that I keep my feet away just in case something drop on it. Expect anything that happens, especially in the beginning, before you get very low burst with it. You'll see people go really fast because they have more manual dexterity and they're used to it. But in the beginning, just be careful. Make sure you have a grip on the tool the whole time. One more. One more. And don't be afraid if you don't get it right the first time, try again. But I want you to be at least familiar with how it works. I'm done. Snapped out. If you look here, it's a nice clean cut. But come closer, you can see how the edges are not really, yeah. So I'm going to use the reamer. Go around. Not a lot, just a little bit. You push with one hand. You just keep going. You don't have to go crazy, just like make it a little bit even and chamfer it a little bit. So that's, you can pull the stuff out. It out. So now, the fun part is I'm trying to get this to grip. It's going to be a challenge. So the first thing I do is I make sure it's going clockwise. I put it inside. You can come over here. So I put it inside, make sure it's facing flat, and I try to give it a nudge with my hand, and you feel it start biting. You feel the bite. Okay, so I can't turn it by my hand. Now, I'll just go with the wrench a little bit. And make sure you give at least 1/3. Slowly, and keep pushing a little bit. And I can feel now, if you look here, you'll see there's a first third has been already been cut. Okay, now, again, never skimp on the oil. Give it some oil, and keep going. So see what I did? Wash your head. And you want to go too fast. So you go back. If you look now, there are some chips. If if you look inside here, there are some chips. They're falling, but there are some chips here.
Are you gonna break the chip or?
Yeah, so every one turn, you're gonna reverse this and go back. Break the chips.
So you thread to the, so it's flush with this?
Yeah. Keep going now. Every 1 or 2 turns, you're gonna go back and break the chip, because otherwise it's gonna make your life a little bit harder, because it's gonna be tough and you're gonna put a lot of power. And after doing this for the whole day, probably you're gonna be stronger, you know. That's why people have really big arms. But it's challenging. So now it's either with the oil. Always work smart, don't work hard. If you're putting too much strength in it, you know something is not working out right. And again, bear in mind this is very old bits, teeth. If it's new, it's going to be really fast. Gloves, guys. So how much thread is enough?
That's what I was asking.
There are guidelines. So he was, the general rules you want to be flush with this side. So, I don't know if you missed that. So, yeah, how much thread do we need? So, most plumber will say if the pipe is ½ inch, you go ½ inch. If it's 3/4, you go 3/4. So I have a lot of chips now. I'm gonna go back. These are chips. Enough, and keep going. 1, 2. Again, these blades are very dull, so require more work. Some oil.
Okay, now I'm starting to see more chip on it.
Because we have more now. All right, keep going. If you put too much force, you might bend the pipe. So just be gentle and go slowly. Don't go too fast. I know it's time consuming, but it's necessary. Chips are in the way. Go back. See how they fall. So threading is clockwise.
Can you pay to get these sharpened?
Huh?
Can you pay to get this sharpened?
Throw those out.
Or just
No,
throw
you
it?
can change it because they're made out of diamond.
Okay.
Like fake diamond, so you can't sharpen it. You just replace the metal.
Just replace them.
So I think I had enough. I'll just take it out. And, huh? No, they have tungsten carbide. They have diamond ones. They have different material. Tungsten is very common, but it depends what you're cutting.
Yeah.
You get a lot of cycles out of carbide.
Yeah.
Nice.
You got it now. This is a nice cut. You can see a little bit of rough edges here. So you come with a file. Again, this kind of job requires some patience and make sure like everything is right. So you want to clean this out, and you can go with a air compressor and just clean them out or wash them. But you don't want this also here, because this, if you're a perfectionist, you want it to be like
Cut your
smooth.
hands, yeah.
It's for sure. So you want to be smooth. So you go with a file, then you can bring a file, and you fall it down a little bit. So you want to do something smooth. See how this is also not smooth, it has some edges. That's not really good. Again, these kind of things last for a long, long time. So, he knows what to use a metallic brush.
A little. It's because you dig inside the meat out there.
And if I grab any connection now, that is 3/4. This is 3/4 inch. You see the thread? Should fit
Some
right
people
in.
need them to clean their toes, bro.
And usually, this is all recorded, right? It's gonna be on YouTube. This should fit right in. And you put some. When you do that, you're gonna use a wrench and make sure you put the right Teflon tape on it, and it should go right in. See, it's the right fit. It's of course amazing. Okay, so we did that. Steel toe. Let's use this contraption. Can we get a tissue cord, please? So this machine is pretty fantastic.
How much does this thing run?
Huh?
How much does this thing run?
I'm not really sure who paid for it, but
Right about.
it goes around like I think 4 or 5 grand. It depends, but it's completely worth the money.
I think it's like 1,500 for the cheap ones.
These are actually this is self lubricating. So what is this?
Reamer.
Reamer. What is this? Look familiar?
Plant.
Cutter.
Cutter.
And this is the tool. This is the thread. So, okay. Usually you want to have a paddle. You want to be on the other side. Paddle here. If you come on the side, so you can sometimes you can see the switches. So this is off. This is forward. And this is reverse. Forward. I'm gonna try to put in this pipe. I'm gonna try to go a little bit further. So this is 1/2 inch pipe. I'm gonna go through with it. So it's not that long, but I'm gonna try to center it and make sure it's in the center. It's too much. I'm gonna put it here. Before I start, I want to look and make sure the the pipe is in the middle. It's not wobbly. It's really clean. And you see how this thing is dripping oil? So we'll lubricate it while we go. Lubrication will extend the cutting tool life. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut it. So this will go back and forth. I'm going to go and make sure again it's in between the 3 blades. Same thing as the other one. So I'm going to take this one out. Oh, they broke. They fell. It's going to take us time to fix it. Okay. It's going to take us a while to fix it. But no, hold on.
Yeah.
See this, the small one, the small one.
There's a lot of pressure in that handle to get the cam to go into place.
Closing.
Yeah.
You closing?
The top one needs to come down the
Yeah.
channel.
Go a little deeper. Yeah, you got it. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm gonna keep it this way.
Okay.
So it's between the three wheels. Make sure. Go forward. I'll just keep this in. No, hold on.
Yeah.
You gotta pull the pipe back down a little.
No, that's not gonna fall.
It's not gonna fall?
Seems okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So.
Cut right off.
Get that in. Get the reamer in. Get the reamer out. Use the blades in. Oh, it fell again.
Yeah.
It's making it fall.
I think you have to tighten this with the cam at the right time.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that. This supposed to be right. Please, this is too deep. So if you look at this part, if you see this here, what do you see? The measurement, right? So this is half an inch. So I'm gonna move this to half an inch, which is around here, right here. Half an inch, tighten it, bring it closer. Almost there. I'll be concentric, yeah. So what I do, I'm gonna take the patient, go inside, and push gently. Once it bites, just keep going. You don't have to push. Oh yeah. We have that over the thing. It's still the same concept. Same thing. Once we're done, we reverse. It should come out by itself.
That's dope.
When you take it out. That's going to be quick and nice. This is compact. You also want to have the proper spec for this motor. It has a lot of torque. So what I was doing here was not right. I should not be leaning on it. Don't get anything caught in it because it really has a lot of torque. But this has emergency switch, so it can, it's going to stop. And yeah, it's going to make your job much easier. And these things you can actually carry and put in your truck and do some pipe fitting. But again, if you're not a plumber, you're not going to do a lot of this. So, any question? You think it's want me to redo something?
So the oil just recycles itself.
Yeah, the oil just goes back and forth.
That's dope.
You can
What is it?
That's good. Thank you.